get off the table.
Guys, we can do this.
Made baddies? The butter made baddies?
We can do this later.
Body butter.
Charlotte, we can do this when we're not doing this.
Bought a bit of butter.
Yes.
But the butter made
Betty's
butter
bitter.
So Betty.
No, so we're playing ping pong now. We're done. Stop it.
No, Charlie, we can do it later.
Give me the face. Betty bought a bit of
Stop.
butter. But the butter.
Be it, tie it.
Charlie,
What did mom say?
Charlie, we're done.
What did mom say?
I don't know anymore. She didn't see.
We're not doing it. It's just Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a better, so Betty bought a bit of better. I learned that one when I was like, I learned that whenever I was like 10, because Emily and Sarah knew it. So they
I thought Hannah taught it to you.
no, it was Emily and Sarah that knew it, and they would say it all the time, and I was like, I want to learn it, so then I did. Me and Bethany know it.
Does Lydia or Gabby?
No. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the better made Betty bought a batter bitter, so Betty bought a bit of better butter to make her bitter, better.
Ah,
It's simple, bro.
simple, bro.
Every single time I say that, everyone just stares at me like,
Yeah, it's just as
same.
simple. It's just as simple as ping pong.
One time I did that at co-op, and Caleb and Elijah just looked at me like,
I know, because then
crazy?
you actually like exceeded their risk level, and Caleb knew I can't have her.
It was on the table that I caught it.
Grr, skirt.
Are you able to stop? I don't want to get Dr. Pepper because Mary does not like diet.
And we have no Dr. Pepper.
We have no Dr. Pepper because of.
We want normal Dr. Pepper.
Is there someone there?
Yeah, one person.
No, don't do it just for me.
Do it because we love Dr. Pepper and we want soda. And they left.
Oh.
And also 8 more minutes of
Betty bought a bit.
Because we're being boring right now.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Betty bought a bit of butter. We should teach. You know, Betty bought a bit of butter. Say after. Betty bought a. Her name's Betty Botta,
Betty bought a.
but she bought a bit of butter. So it's Betty bought a bit of butter.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
But it's a story how she bought bad butter and it made her batter bitter. Right?
Betty bought a bit of butter.
But the butter made Betty's batter bitter.
Betty bought his batter bitter.
But
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's batter bitter.
Wait,
Betty's bought a batter bitter.
What? Wait,
listen.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Betty,
There's nobody named Maddie.
bought a bit of butter.
Betty
bought
bought
Butter made Betty's butter bitter.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but
The butter made Betty's batter bitter. Betty bought us batter bitter.
wait, hold on. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter.
Yes.
Okay, so Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty
Betty
bought us batter bitter. Wait,
Yes.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought us batter bitter.
Yes. Yes.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but
the butter-
stop. But the butter made Betty butter bitter.
You did that. It was Betty.
Betty bought us batter bitter. Betty bought us batter bitter.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Bought a bit of bitter.
No. Wait, Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought his batter bitter.
Betty bought a batter bitter.
Nope.
Betty bought a batter bitter. Oh my.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought his batter
a bit
bitter.
of butter.
Yes.
But the butter made
Betty bought us batter
bitter.
Yes.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Stop.
Butter made
Let me
Betty
try
bought
it.
a bit of butter.
Let me try it.
Okay.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Yep.
But the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter.
Betty's.
I got it.
Betty
I got it.
Betty, not
Betty bought us batter bitter, but you basically got it.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a bit of batter.
And she bought some better butter to make her bitter batter better. That's it.
So bought some better butter to make her Betty better.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter
Betty
made... Wait, guys, let me speak, actually. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter, so Betty bought a bit of better butter to make her bitter batter better.
Betty bought a bit of butter. But the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter.
Yes.
So Betty bought a
bought a bit of better butter.
So Betty bought a bit of better
No,
butter.
but Betty bought a bit of better butter.
But Betty bought a bit of
To
better
make
butter.
her bitter,
Better.
To make her bitter better.
Wait, I got it.
Little Miss Girl had a revelation.
Betty bought a bit of butter. Yes, but the butter. Here's the
Betty
plot.
bought a batter bitter.
But the butter made Betty bought a
Better.
bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter to make her bitter, better.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought his batter bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter to make her bitter batter better.
Yes! Yes!
Get ready, don't say anything. Don't even like help me.
Say it fast.
Betty bought
You
bought
messed up,
Stop, like, Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a Betty bought a bit of butter,
Yeah.
but the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter.
Really?
So Betty, yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
Betty
What?
bought she bought Daddy.
What'd she buy?
She bought
Betty bought a bit
a bit of better butter.
Better butter?
Yeah. Here's the plot twist. The better butter made but
Betty, what the hell?
So the butter made Betty's bitter better.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty bought a batter bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter to make her bitter batter better.
Guys, Betty bought a bit of butter.
What?
Here's the plot twist.
Whoa.
The
Tell me.
butter
Yeah.
made Betty's bitter batter bitter.
No, I'm watching the story.
So Betty bought a better bit of butter.
What? A better bit?
And the bitter butter got better. What are you saying?
She's making up her own
So
story.
Betty put the better butter in the bitter butter and it made the bitter butter better. I made it my own.
Asma's not on your side.
Betty better.
Wait, we should make our own tongue twister.
Betty better. Mary. To marry Mary, she married Mary.
Wait, we should make a video of us making our own tongue twisters.
Why don't you speak? Let's start.
Brielle bought a bit of butts.
No, Brielle bought a bit of butts to make her a baddie.
Okay.
Wait, ready?
There's zero
Brielle
people.
bought a better butt to make her burnt butt look better. But the
Burnt
burnt
butt?
butt burned away and made the better butt burn.
What?
I don't know.
Why are we talking about my...
Okay.
Okay, let's play.
Charlotte, shit.
Charlotte did it at the restaurant today.
Yes! And everybody knew. Wait, Charlotte.
Betty bought a better.
Better.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Bit of butter.
Made Betty better butter.
Shut up, Charlotte. You're not.
No, listen. Betty bought a bit of butter.
Really?
Butter made Betty
Batter
bit
better?
of batter bitter.
Who is Betty and why is she making batter that's Betty?
So Betty bought a bit of better butter.
Betty bought a bit of better butter to make the bitter batter better. Wait, Betty bought a bit of butter.
Betty
But
bought
the
a
butter
bit
made,
of butter.
Betty bought his butter,
The
butter.
Betty bit of better bitter. So
Better, butter.
made a better butter to make the bitter butter better.
No way! I've heard that so many times.
What's the last part? What's the last part?
You said Betty bought a
Betty bought a butter.
Betty bought a bit of butter. But the butter made Betty fat.
Betty bought a.
Who wants to make a puzzle?
No, actually, listen. Betty bought a bit of butter. But the butter made Betty's butter better bitter. So Betty.
What did Betty bought do? Tell him.
A better.
Who's a bed of batter? Who is batter
To
bed?
make her bitter better. So
But I don't
listen,
want my bitter better.
Betty bought a bit of butter. But the butter made Betty's bitter.
Betty bought.
Betty Betty bought
Paying attention.
better,
Listening.
bitter. So Betty bought a better, but Betty bought
What is Betty better doing?
better butter to make her bitter better better.
What are you? Okay.
Betty bought a bit of butter. Butter.
Butter.
Butter.
You bought a bit of butter?
Bought a
Did you buy a bit of butter?
Betty's bought a. That's what I said. Betty
Betty
bought a
bought a-
better.
Betty bought a butter.
So Betty bought a better. Better butter.
I am time. Betty bought a better.
It's simple. Betty bought a bit of butter, butter made Betty bought a better, Betty bought a bit better, better.
Yeah, couldn't get more simpler than that, Mary.
I know, it's like so easy. Why
Mhm,
did you not
yeah.
get it?
Listen, sorry. Betty bought a bit of butter,
Wow.
but the butter made Betty's stop helping me. Betty
Whoa.
bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's batter bitter.
Yep.
So Betty bought a better.
Bro, what are you talking about?
Bought a bit of better.
So Betty bought a better batter.
Nope.
So Betty bought a better butter.
No.
So
No.
Betty bought a bit of better butter.
Yes.
Okay. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's batter bitter. So
No.
Betty bought a bit of better butter to make the bitter batter better.
Yes.
Oh, don't do that again.
Someone like.
Listen,
Never mind.
baby. No one's here though.
No, one person's here.
Betty bought a bit
That
of butter.
person's a trooper.
But the
Listening.
That person is definitely a
Betty bought a
trooper. If I could send them $100, I would, but I don't have $100, so I can't.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's.
Listening to Charlotte just
Better.
yap about Betty.
I love listening about Betty. Tell me more,
Betty,
Charlotte.
okay, Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's batter bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter to
Really?
make the bitter butter better.
Charlotte, what did Mom say about the Coke? I mean, the
Guys,
It's too late.
She did say
Too
that?
late. Get it down. Yeah.
It's too
Too
late.
late. I went to bed like literally.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter made Betty's bought a bit of bitter. Okay. Wait.
Betty
Oh.
bought a bit of butter, but the
you
butter.
serious?
Yes. Betty bought a bit of butter,
Yep.
but the butter made Betty's bitter
No.
batter better. Butter.
What are you talking about?
No, let me film it.
No, let me film it. I want to film it.
Betty bought a
Betty-
bit of butter.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter.
You want to
made
butt the
Betty's
butter made.
Bitter.
No. Batter bitter.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
There are two people now.
Okay, stop. Okay.
Betty bought a bit of butter.
Charlotte,
Let's see if you can get it down before I
Charlotte,
finish
I
this.
swear, if you say it again, I will slap you.
I'm trying to get on camera.
Charlotte, I can't.
Betty bought
You
a
can get it on
butter.
camera once you get it down.
But the butter made Betty's bitter.
No!
Bitter.
No.
What is it?
Oh my gosh.
Betty bought us batter bitter.
Oh, Betty's butter.
Can you actually go in the other room?
Yeah, if you're gonna do this, do it somewhere
You
else.
said it like 10 times.
No, she said it 100 times, Mary.
Go in the other room. And film it.
Listen, his comment
Or I can film it for you.
the flash.
Because I actually know it. Yeah.
Charlotte, we love you, but it's just getting a little bit much.
So
Like, I can film it for you if you want.
Because
I know it. I know how to Okay. Can we play ping pong?
I'm putting this puzzle together.
I'm gonna jump off the balcony.
What, Mary? Are you good, my guy?
Charlotte, you wanna play? Charlotte, you wanna play?
Solid.
What?
Why is your skin ripping?
What did you do? What did you do?
No, I hit that.
Oh, Mary! Why are you laughing?
What's the thing you call whenever you're tired?
Delusion?
No. Delirious.
Yeah, you're delirious. Ah! And mean.
I barely touched you.
Stop! Ah. Stop it, you hottie.
I haven't.
What, Mary?
Nothing.
Okay. Mary, no.
Brielle.
Yes. What are you doing? Go to bed.
No, it's only 1. It's only 12.
Only 12. That sounds fantabulous, actually.
You know, if we say the time, they can know.
And they'd get like half of the United States, which would still take them forever. No.